My life, before chaos, was a perfectly curated symphony of order. I was Sarah Mitchell, a freelance journalist, and my home office was my sanctuary. Every pen had its place, every book was alphabetized, and my daily schedule was meticulously planned, down to the minute. I thrived on predictability, on the quiet hum of productivity that filled my days. My articles, often focused on lifestyle and organization, reflected my own meticulously structured existence. I wasn't lonely, not exactly. I had friends, a supportive family, and a fulfilling career. But there was a certain quietude, a serene predictability that, in hindsight, bordered on stagnation. I had always admired dogs from a distance. Their boundless energy, their unbridled enthusiasm, it was charming, in theory. But the reality of muddy paws, chewed furniture, and unpredictable schedules seemed antithetical to my carefully constructed world. My apartment, with its pristine white carpets and minimalist decor, felt like a fortress against the very concept of disorder. A dog, I reasoned, would be an agent of chaos, a furry wrecking ball in my perfectly ordered universe. And so, I resisted, content with my quiet, predictable life. Then came the email. A friend, knowing my soft spot for animals despite my practical reservations, sent me a photo. It was a golden retriever puppy, all golden fluff and oversized paws, with eyes that seemed to hold a universe of innocent mischief. He was from a local rescue, one of a litter found abandoned. His name, the email stated, was Chaos. The irony was not lost on me. I chuckled, deleted the email, and went back to my perfectly organized spreadsheet. But the image lingered. Those eyes. They weren't just mischievous, they were pleading, vulnerable, full of a nascent joy that seemed to call out to something deep within me. Over the next few days, the image of chaos kept resurfacing. I found myself unconsciously humming a playful tune, my fingers tapping a rhythm that was far from my usual methodical keystrokes. The quiet hum of my apartment suddenly felt too quiet. The order, once comforting, now felt a little sterile. I tried to rationalize it. A dog would be good for my health, force me to take breaks, get more exercise. It would be a new challenge, a way to expand my horizons. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. It was a pull, an undeniable urge to connect with that innocent mischief, to bring a little bit of that unbridled joy into my life. The fortress of order was beginning to show cracks. One rainy Saturday, I found myself driving to the rescue center. The air was thick with the scent of damp dog fur and disinfectant, a stark contrast to the lavender and linen spray I used at home. Puppies yelped, older dogs barked, and the general atmosphere was, well, chaotic. And there he was. Chaos. He was smaller than I imagined, a fluffy ball of golden energy, tumbling over his siblings, nipping playfully at their ears. When he saw me, he paused, his head cocked, those same mischievous eyes locking onto mine. Then, with a burst of puppy enthusiasm, he waddled towards me, his tail wagging furiously, and promptly tripped over his own paws, landing in a heap at my feet. He looked up, a tiny, apologetic whine escaping his throat, and then licked my hand with a wet, enthusiastic tongue. And just like that, the fortress crumbled. I signed the papers, a strange mix of apprehension and exhilaration bubbling within me. The rescue worker, a kind woman named Brenda, smiled knowingly. "He's a handful, but he's got a heart of gold," she said, handing me a small bag of puppy food and a worn chew toy. "You'll have your hands full, but you won't regret it." I nodded, a nervous laugh escaping my lips. "Chaos, huh?" I murmured, looking down at the tiny creature nestled in my arms. He yawned, a wide, pink yawn, and then snuggled closer, his warm body a surprising comfort against my chest. The drive home was an adventure in itself. Chaos, initially quiet, soon discovered the joys of car rides. He whined, he barked, he tried to climb into my lap, and then, inevitably, he threw up on the passenger seat. My pristine car, once a symbol of my organized life, was now a testament to the immediate impact of my new companion. I sighed, a mixture of exasperation and amusement. This was just the beginning, I knew. Bringing chaos into my apartment was like unleashing a tiny, furry tornado. He sniffed every corner, explored every nook and cranny, and promptly attempted to chew on the leg of my antique coffee table. My carefully placed throw pillows became wrestling opponents, my potted plants became intriguing digging sites, and my alphabetized books became tempting chew toys. The quiet hum of productivity was replaced by the joyful yelps of a puppy, the frantic squeak of a chew toy, and the occasional crash of something falling off a shelf. My first night with chaos was a blur of puppy-induced sleep deprivation. He whined in his crate, he needed to go out every 2 hours, and when he finally did sleep, he snored with an intensity that belied his small size. I stumbled through my morning routine, my hair a mess, dark circles under my eyes. My perfectly planned schedule was in tatters. My work, usually my anchor, felt distant, overshadowed by the immediate, demanding presence of this tiny creature. I found myself constantly cleaning, constantly redirecting, constantly trying to impose some semblance of order on the beautiful, overwhelming chaos that had invaded my life. My minimalist decor was now adorned with chew toys, puppy pads, and a growing collection of dog beds. The scent of lavender and linen was replaced by the faint, but undeniable, aroma of puppy. I looked in the mirror one morning and barely recognized myself. This disheveled, sleep-deprived woman was a far cry from the organized, composed Sarah Mitchell I had once been. But then, there were the moments. The way chaos would curl up on my lap, his warm body a comforting weight, his soft snores a lullaby. The way he would look at me with those intelligent, loving eyes, a silent promise of unconditional affection. The way his tail would wag with such unbridled joy every time I entered the room, as if I were the most wonderful person in the world. In those moments, the chaos faded, and I was left with a profound sense of warmth, a feeling of being truly seen and loved. He was a handful, a furry wrecking ball, but he was also a source of pure, unadulterated joy. And I knew, with a certainty that transcended all logic and order, that my life, though irrevocably changed, was now infinitely richer. The beautiful chaos had begun, and I, Sarah Mitchell, was ready to embrace every messy, joyful moment of it. As chaos grew, so did the scale of his, well, chaos. The tiny, fluffy puppy soon transformed into a lanky, adolescent golden retriever with an insatiable appetite for adventure and, unfortunately, my belongings. My once pristine apartment became a testament to his boundless energy. The legs of my antique coffee table bore the permanent marks of his teething phase. My carefully curated collection of throw pillows was now a graveyard of shredded fabric and scattered stuffing. And my alphabetized books, once a source of pride, were now adorned with the occasional chew mark, a permanent reminder of chaos's literary critiques. My work, once the center of my universe, now had to compete with the constant demands of a growing puppy. My meticulously planned schedule was a distant memory, replaced by a chaotic dance of walks, feeding times, and impromptu play sessions. I learned to type with one hand while throwing a squeaky toy with the other. I conducted phone interviews with the constant background noise of a barking puppy. And I wrote articles on organization and productivity while surrounded by a level of disorder that would have sent my former self into a full-blown panic attack. There were moments of pure exasperation. The time he discovered the joys of unrolling an entire roll of toilet paper, turning my bathroom into a winter wonderland of shredded tissue. The time he managed to open the refrigerator and help himself to a block of cheese, leaving a trail of greasy paw prints across the kitchen floor. And the infamous, muddy paw incident, where he decided to redecorate my white carpets with a Jackson Pollock-esque masterpiece of mud and grass. In those moments, I would look at him, covered in mud, a look of pure, unadulterated joy on his face, and I would find myself torn between laughter and tears. But for every moment of chaos, there were a dozen moments of pure, unadulterated joy. The way he would greet me at the door, his entire body wiggling with excitement, as if I had been gone for years instead of just a few hours. The way he would rest his head on my lap as I worked, his warm presence a comforting anchor in the storm of my deadlines. And the way he would look at me with those soulful, loving eyes, a silent communication that transcended words. He was a furry, four-legged paradox, a source of both my greatest frustrations and my deepest joys. I enrolled us in puppy training classes, hoping to instill some semblance of order in my chaotic companion. The classes were an experience. While other puppies sat patiently, their eyes fixed on their owners, Chaos was a whirlwind of energy. He would bark at the other dogs, try to initiate a game of chase during the stay command, and once, in a particularly memorable moment, he managed to steal the trainer's clicker and run around the room with it, a triumphant look on his face. I was mortified, my face burning with a mixture of embarrassment and a strange, reluctant pride. He was a handful, my Chaos, but he was also undeniably charismatic. Despite his rebellious streak, Chaos did learn. He learned to sit, to stay, for a few seconds, at least, and to walk on a leash without pulling my arm out of its socket. But more importantly, he taught me. He taught me the importance of patience, of finding humor in the midst of chaos, of letting go of my need for perfect order. He taught me that life wasn't about meticulously planned schedules and alphabetized books. It was about embracing the messy, unpredictable, beautiful moments that truly mattered. Our walks, once a brisk, efficient form of exercise, became leisurely explorations. Chaos, with his insatiable curiosity, would stop to sniff every flower, greet every stranger, and chase every squirrel. I, in turn, learned to slow down, to appreciate the simple beauty of the world around me. I noticed the way the sunlight filtered through the leaves, the intricate patterns of a spider's web, the joyful laughter of children playing in the park. Chaos, in his own chaotic way, was teaching me to be present, to live in the moment, to see the world through his eyes, a world filled with wonder and endless possibilities. My writing, too, began to change. My articles on organization and productivity, once my bread and butter, started to feel a little hollow. I found myself drawn to more personal stories, to narratives that explored the messy, beautiful, chaotic reality of life. I wrote about the challenges and joys of puppyhood, about the unexpected lessons learned from a furry, four-legged guru. My readers responded with an enthusiasm that surprised me. They shared their own stories of chaotic pets, of the love and laughter they brought into their lives. I had found a new voice, a more authentic voice, and it was all thanks to Chaos. One evening, as I sat on the floor, surrounded by the remnants of a disemboweled chew toy, Chaos curled up beside me, his head resting on my lap. He looked up at me, his eyes soft and loving, and let out a contented sigh. In that moment, I realized that my life, though no longer perfectly ordered, was infinitely more full. The quiet hum of productivity had been replaced by the joyful symphony of a shared life, a life filled with laughter, love, and a healthy dose of chaos. The fortress of order had been breached, and in its place, a beautiful, messy, wonderful life had taken root. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. Chaos, my furry wrecking ball, had not just destroyed my perfectly curated world, he had rebuilt it, piece by messy, joyful piece, into something far more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. Years, like the scattered pieces of a chew toy, flew by. Chaos, my beautiful, boisterous golden retriever, transitioned from a mischievous puppy to a dignified, albeit still energetic, adult. His golden fur, once a fluffy cloud, now gleamed with a mature luster. His playful nips had softened into gentle nudges, and his boundless energy, while still present, was now channeled into long, joyful runs in the park and enthusiastic games of fetch. My apartment, though still bearing the scars of his puppyhood, had found a new equilibrium. It was no longer pristine, but it was undeniably lived in, filled with the warmth and comfort of a shared life. My career, too, had evolved. The articles on organization and productivity had given way to a new passion, writing about the profound impact animals have on human lives. My blog, The Furry Philosopher, gained a loyal following, filled with stories of Chaos's antics, his unexpected wisdom, and the countless lessons he had taught me. I found myself connecting with readers from all walks of life, sharing laughter, tears, and the universal understanding that comes from loving a pet. Chaos, in his own unique way, had not only transformed my personal life but had also reshaped my professional path, leading me to a more authentic and fulfilling purpose. Our daily walks became a cherished ritual, a time for reflection and connection. Chaos, with his keen senses, would often lead me to hidden corners of the park, to sun-dappled paths I would have otherwise missed. He taught me to appreciate the simple joys, the scent of damp earth after a rain, the vibrant colors of autumn leaves, the comforting silence of a snowy morning. He was my guide, my companion, my furry anchor in a world that often felt too fast, too demanding. He reminded me to slow down, to breathe, to simply be. As Chaos entered his senior years, his energy began to wane, his steps a little slower, his naps a little longer. His muzzle, once a vibrant gold, was now dusted with white, a testament to the passage of time and the countless adventures we had shared. My heart ached at the thought of his eventual absence, a fear that had always lingered in the back of my mind. I cherished every moment, every gentle nudge, every contented sigh, knowing that our time together, though precious, was finite. One crisp autumn afternoon, as we walked through the park, Chaos stumbled. He recovered quickly, but the momentary loss of balance sent a jolt of fear through me. I knelt beside him, stroking his fur, my voice thick with concern. He looked up at me, his eyes, though clouded with age, still held that familiar spark of mischief and love. "It's okay, boy," I whispered, trying to reassure myself as much as him. "We'll take it easy." Over the next few months, his health slowly declined. The long runs in the park became short strolls around the block. The enthusiastic games of fetch were replaced by gentle pats and quiet cuddles. He spent more time sleeping, his dreams filled, I imagined, with endless fields and chasing squirrels. I spent every spare moment by his side, reading to him, stroking his fur, simply being present. He had taught me to live in the moment, and now, I was applying that lesson to our final, precious moments together. The day he left me was a quiet one. He passed peacefully in his sleep, curled in his favorite sunbeam, a gentle sigh escaping his lips. The silence that followed was deafening, a void that echoed through every corner of my apartment, every fiber of my being. My beautiful Chaos was gone, and in its place, a profound emptiness settled. The world felt muted, the colors dull, the symphony of my life reduced to a single, mournful note. I grieved deeply, openly, allowing myself to feel the full weight of my loss. My readers, my friends, my family, they all offered comfort, sharing their own stories of beloved pets who had crossed the rainbow bridge. Their empathy was a balm, a reminder that I was not alone in my sorrow. But the ache in my heart remained, a constant companion, a testament to the depth of the love I had for my furry philosopher. Months passed, and slowly, gradually, the sharp edges of grief began to soften. The memories, once painful reminders of what I had lost, now became cherished treasures, warm embers in the quiet corners of my heart. I found myself smiling at the thought of his antics, laughing at the memory of his mischievous eyes. Chaos had taught me to live, and even in his absence, he continued to teach me, to remind me that love, even when it ends, leaves an indelible mark, a beautiful legacy that shapes who we become. One sunny afternoon, as I sat in the park, a gentle breeze rustling through the leaves, I saw her. A small, scruffy terrier mix, with bright, curious eyes, chasing a butterfly with an unbridled joy that was infectious. She stumbled, rolled, and then looked up at me, her tail wagging furiously, a tiny, furry whirlwind of pure, unadulterated chaos. She reminded me, in a strange, unexpected way, of a younger Chaos, that same innocent mischief, that same boundless enthusiasm. I smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile that reached my eyes. It wasn't a replacement, not by any means. There would never be another Chaos. But it was a flicker of hope, a reminder that life, even after loss, continues to unfold, offering new connections, new joys, new opportunities for beautiful Chaos. I watched her for a moment longer, then, with a lightness in my step I hadn't felt in months, I rose and walked towards her, ready to embrace whatever new adventures awaited me. Chaos had taught me to live, to love, and to find beauty in the unexpected. And now, I was ready to carry those lessons forward, to continue writing my story, one beautiful, chaotic chapter at a time. The symphony of my life, though forever changed, was ready for a new melody, a new rhythm, a new, beautiful Chaos.